34.
33.
32.
31.
30.
29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
22. 21.
20.
19.
18.
17. 16.
15. 14.
13.
12.
11.
10.
9. 8.
7.
6.
5.
4.
3.
2.
1.
Hey, Rocky, you want to see me pull a show out of my hat? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Hi, and welcome to the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty, fresh take on politics. And well, we're doing, as you saw there in the intro, we're doing cross-pollination. And what's that? That's when we promote somebody else's show. We're cross-pollinating, and we were joking backstage. It's like cross-contamination. So we're going to hope that we bring you a good show tonight. And if you're new to this, maybe you're some of the, this other program's show guests or whatever. We have the live chat on here, and we are live on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and YouTube, and you can comment on all those in the live chat except for LinkedIn. I don't know how that works yet, but Twitter's new. You can actually do that with the Twitter, and hey, this is going to be fun tonight. Now, if you were watching the show last week, you noticed that I got kicked off the air like 3 times. Well, never fear. I got us a new router, and we're supposed to have really good reception now. We're going to see if we can make it through a show. I hope we can. Well, it's going to be fun tonight. It's going to be fun. I've got a really good conspiracy theory tonight that I think you're really going to enjoy, and I think you're going to enjoy this other group here. They're doing their sort of thing, and we're going to compare notes tonight. Looks like we got everybody backstage. Tiffany might be coming in a little late, but we are going to go ahead and bring on our guests tonight. Let's see what we have here. There we go. Let's do this way. Yeah,
there we go.
We'll put you like that and have your beautiful banner back there. Gentlemen, we'll start with you, Brandon. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having us on.
Okay. And Kristopher, how are you?
We're doing just fine, thank you, and we're glad to be here.
Okay, yeah, your show came across our radar last week when we were talking burning the bridges of Madison County, and you guys sound like you're right up there in the fire. Maybe you even lit a couple matches.
Absolutely.
So we'll start with you, Brandon. What in the heck made you get in this wonderful world of podcast, news, whatnot that we do?
Well, I guess that's kind of a fun story. I've always kind of been involved in politics. I was always interested. I always voted. My wife was a teacher at the time, and there's a lot of legislation coming out that was really impacting her job, and we had some strong opinions on that. So started getting involved with local politicians. One in particular wasn't very responsive. Had not a lot of good times with him. Ended up getting into some arguments, etc. Actually caught Kristopher's attention, and initially I think he had read a letter I wrote to the editor in the newspaper. Then producer Kate kind of connected us, and for a while there, I guess I was kind of an honorary producer. I would submit like content and ideas to him and be a guest every once in a while, and then finally he kind of invited me on. I kind of started getting involved and doing the show with him.
Yeah, I was watching one of the shows, and it was just there was Chris on there, and it was like, man, it is tough when you just have to sit there and talk, and you don't really have any guests or anything to bounce off of. It's harder than a lot of people think to do that. So Kristopher, tell us a little bit about this story with Brandon, because I think it got a little bit of traction there on how people treat other people whether you can block them on your social media thing. Am I barking up the right tree?
Yeah. So there's three of us on our team. We're of course called the Political Spotlight. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook, and we produce a weekly show, a weekly show, weeknight show. Basically, we're on 5 nights a week, Sunday through Thursday, live at 9 p.m. And we normally produce about an hour and a half to 2 hour long show. I've been doing this broadcasting, talking about politics, on and off in some format, either live video, audio podcast only, or on YouTube now since about 2016. I've been involved in politics at the local, state, and national level for many, many, many years. And it really picked up probably in 2015, 16. I was in a Winchester City Council meeting. I was born and raised in Muncie, Indiana, lived in Muncie until about my 30th year on Earth, moved to Winchester, spent 10 years in Winchester, and I'm back in Muncie now. But when I lived in Winchester in November of 2017, I was in a meeting, and I was kind of upset about what was going on. It was a standing room only meeting. There was a lot of contention. And I stood up in November of 2017, and I let my counselors know at the end of the meeting, the business was all done. There was some back and forth between the council and between the audience. And I stood up and let them know that I thought that they were a joke. And I said, they had been telling people they were out of order all evening. And I said, you guys are out of order. You're a joke. And I then was walking out, and I found myself being slammed into the wall, my arms twisted behind my back, handcuffs were put on me, and I was taken to jail. And I was jailed for disorderly conduct. And it was like ridiculous. The prosecutor in the matter declined to file charges. He filed a 4-page memo stating that it was unlawful and it was an unjust arrest, and said that, obviously the arrest was no good because I was conducting myself as Americans should, utilizing my First Amendment political speech. And so from that really lit the fuse for me to get active and bring more people into the fold. And then in 2000 or 2021, sometime around there, I found out that Brandon had an issue with a state representative from District 33, which is in the same area of us, J.D. Prescott, and that Brandon had been trying to ask a very legitimate question. Brandon wasn't being rude. He wasn't being crazy. He wasn't obscene. He was asking about Bill. Yeah, right. It was crazy. It was, a perfectly legitimate question. And Representative Prescott blocked him from an official page. And Brandon went through the ACLU and sued and fought this big battle to get this, his rights restored. And that's how I found out about him. And then we kind of gelled from there. So we've been fighting this fight. You hear the term First Amendment auditor. I'm not a big fan of that name, and we don't do the exact same thing that First Amendment auditors do. But I consider myself a constitutional auditor.
Yeah, I didn't know we had a couple of criminals on tonight, but that's you'll fit right in here. I mean, I would say that that I've had my run. You had a good experience with the ACLU. I had a bad experience. They were in big support of House Bill 480 last year, which was basically what I called it was genital mutilation for underage kids. I testified and I took them to task on the Twitter. I mean, it was all out war against them. Well, I was with a group that we served homeless folks on their parking lot, and they got so mad at me that they kicked our entire group off the lot. And
wow.
It was so that's why I knew we had a victory. It all worked out well. I think they were trying to get me in trouble with that, and we went to Mission 27 around the corner. It's a better place. They love having us there. And guess what? This weekend, the water main broke in front of the ACLU, and their whole parking lot was flooded. So, hey, I'm not saying that it was God saying punishing them, but I'm just saying it was God punishing them. So that's what I'm saying. Well, I can tell this hour is going to go fast. So anybody that's viewing, so after this hour, these guys usually go a couple hours. I'm going to jump on their show and be their guest. So this will be a lot more fun. I want them to push buttons and all that good stuff, and then they can grill me for questions and all that. But I'm going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and play Mark Small, Small Talk. And I just want to say that I'm just very appreciative of working with Mark Small. He's our left-leaning Republican. Left falling over Republican. And he's so far left that they think he's a Democrat. So there you go. But he does a segment called Small Talk, and he gets a couple minutes every week, and he'll put his 2 cents in on the subject. And he's very good. I don't have to bug him. He sends it in. It's always good. It's professional. It's all that. So we're going to play that. And then we're going to get our panelists out here. And it does not look like I see Tiffany back there, but Lucy and Brad will give you all your worth. So let's go ahead and listen to Small Talk, and we'll bring the panel on the other side.
Hi, I'm Mark Small. This is Small Talk. There's a bill before the Indiana House of Representatives right now, HB 1338, sets up a structure for local units of government to establish rules for public comment during meetings, including restrictions on time. If somebody gets 2 warnings on the third warning, third strike, they are removed from the meeting, they can be charged. That's kind of a bad thing, because if the meeting is on school property, for example, and it's a school board meeting, that can be a felony. So what message does that send to people? Because the statute itself doesn't make requirements for how much time is to be allowed for comment or anything. It's meant to have a chilling effect. People are showing up to meetings and they're expressing their disdain for policies that are being set forth. Last summer, Hamilton East Public Library Board of Trustees had meetings. One member of the board was talking over people as they were trying to talk. Well, if you did that and you were working for me, you'd be fired. And then when people were talking, he'd be talking to somebody else on the board, not listening to people from the public. Listen, I've chaired a lot of public meetings, a lot of meetings of organizations. All you need to do is up front, tell people what the time limits are and let people speak. One comment in this article that I read about the statute was, well, some people just start going on and even talking about things that aren't relevant. Yeah. So what you say is, this isn't relevant to what we're discussing. You're getting close to the end of your 2 minutes. People are normally going to be pretty considerate about it. This is a statute that's unnecessary. It's meant to chill speech, because gee whiz, if you show up at a public meeting on this, you might get charged criminal offense. So we need to put an end to that. Don't pass this bill, Mark Small Talk, please.
All right. So let's see. I'm going to put you guys on the bot. Wait, where did Lucy go? We lost Lucy. She's here, and there she is. Okay, now this will work. It's just like the Brady Bunch, and she's Marsha. So wow, Mark Small, he was talking about, that's what we're going to talk about, this bill 1338 House bill, and it sounds like you guys are going to be in big trouble if you go to meetings. It's like, and I wouldn't even want to see Lucy in a meeting. She would definitely be jail bound. I've seen Mark, I've seen Brad in meetings, and I've seen Tiffany on the other side of this. So we're going to have a lively discussion tonight. And Brad is well behaved in these meetings. He got up, and he said his piece. He was like ordering soup with a soup Nazi. He got in line and he went right over, and then they gave him his. But Cassie Jackson, he's in our live feed tonight. He was all over the place there. So yeah, I get that. So let's see. Tiffany, I'm going to go across the panel here. Tiffany, it's good to see you back. I'm sorry we didn't get you on last week. We had our expert David Shelton on, but we're glad to have you back.
Oh, you know what? Proud to share my seat with David Shelton. He's absolutely amazing. So not a problem on my end. I think I went to bed early, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, nothing like supporting the show or anything. I see how you are. So, Lucy, how is it going down in Salem? Have you burned any witches at the stake tonight or today or anything?
Yeah, they're outside my door right now with pitchforks. So if you hear anything, that's what it is. I'm just really excited about this time of year. All the plants are dormant. It's time for us to regather our energies. And pretty soon I'll be propagating elderberries and blackberries. Maybe I'll bring some up for your chickens.
Hey, leave your personal life out of this. I'm telling you, I don't want to know about those elderberries.
It is like the ugliest time of the year right now, Lucy. It is cold and just god awful.
It makes you appreciate the spring.
It's the color of winter is brown if it's not
Yes.
white, so it's all good. So Brad, how you doing tonight? We talked earlier. Usually you're sporting the Bud Light, but you just went straight to the whiskey tonight.
Yeah. I saw some Jim Beam, and it's been a while. So,
Yeah, it's been a while,
but you
so-
don't know because it's in a red cup. So just like
that's right.
just like
We won't mention it. We won't mention it at all. So, well, hey, this is fun.
But I did want to kind of correct Mark. The bill it doesn't apply to school boards.
He is correct.
Yeah.
School boards
still
and
call
they
that-
school boards and like charter schools too.
You
like
can
those
still cause havoc
meetings.
then. Yeah, you
Yeah,
still.
yeah.
And we might. There's another.
About is it 1338?
Yes.
1338. Yeah, it's about decorum in meetings and that. And I do agree with Mark about if you run a good meeting, you can, and let people speak. I think the biggest thing is letting people speak. Sometimes, it's like giving somebody an open microphone. You never know what they're going to say. It's like having a kid or a dog on your show.
Even if they listen, though, John, I mean, do you guys remember like the debate about the abortion ban? Everybody was against it. Like nobody wanted the bill to pass as it was written, and they still passed it. So
yeah, even John Jacob didn't want it.
Yeah, I
He's
mean, like
the
even
biggest.
100% of the people. So what was the? I guess
You got to say your
always
piece.
rubs me the wrong way because like that was just
You got to say your piece. All right, so let's go ahead and let's start this questioning of our witnesses here. I mean, our suspects. I mean, our victims. So, Lucy, I'm gonna let you start it out while your internet's still good.
Yeah, exactly. Before they burn the house down. Actually, I'm always really curious, and I'm going to direct this towards Christopher first, and then Brandon second. Political commentary is a thankless job, and people want to cancel you and hate you. So, why did each of you take this on, knowing that this is a miserable existence?
Well, yeah, no kidding. So I mean, like I said in the intro, I've been politically active for a long time, and I think that this is very important. I think our goal is trying to educate and inform through, the factual information, through our lived experience and our opinions, and through a little bit of entertainment in there. I'm very concerned about what's going on in the world today, in the United States today, in Indiana, and in our own little areas. So I think it's important to get folks involved, and that's why I do what I'm doing. And specifically about this bill here, as I told John, I've been arrested for speaking in a meeting for saying you're a joke. I said you're a joke. I wasn't violent. I wasn't crazy. And I was arrested for disorderly conduct. Thank God that was defeated. And we filed a First Amendment rights lawsuit, which I came out victorious on. But that was before this law was put in place. And this representative, J.D. Prescott, who put this law in place, is doing so to protect. This is the session to protect political figures. And I think that that's disgusting. Yep. And I feel like people need to know what's going on. So that's why I do what I'm doing. And I'll pass it over to Brandon.
Yeah. So a lot of what Kristopher said, it's funny because our critics, like J.D. Prescott or whoever, will say that we're doing it for clicks or likes or whatever it is. I don't really care about that. I've never really thought about the exact reason I do it, but I'll tell you one of the first things that really motivated me was, first of all, being blocked by author of HB 1338, J.D. Prescott. And then I think one of the biggest things that motivated me was I went to one of his legislative updates, and they tend to do a really good job of not advertising those openly because they don't really want citizens there to question them. So I showed up with a camera. I was like, I'm going to record it. I'll post it online, show it to everybody because I, like Christopher, I just want people to be informed. So I start recording it, and JD stops in mid-sentence and says, "Hey, you do not have permission to record me. I had better not see that video or pictures of me on social media." And from there I said, well, you're not going to tell me what to do. And so I decided, you know what? I'll record him whenever he's doing a public event where I'm legally allowed to record him. I'll share it with people. I will update people on what's going on in the State House. I want people to be informed. So that's probably my biggest motivation that really got me going. And I've just become good friends with Kristopher and Kate, and it's just kind of fun too. So
Wait, so Brandon, do you have like a video of when JD Prescott got called out by like his first grade teacher or his kindergarten teacher?
Yes,
and he stormed off. Because like,
we have a picture.
I think that's where this bill is coming from. I don't know what other causes, you know, but
childhood
seriously,
trauma.
like that did happen, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, Brad, the thing to note, like we told these
And
stories
not in a disrespectful manner. It was.
Oh yeah, 100%. You got to remember the author of this bill is the one who I had to sue for violating my First Amendment rights, and then the council that brought the idea to him is the one that violated Kristopher's rights.
Well, wait, what you're trying to say is HB 1338. The B stands for Brandon. Is that what I'm hearing? House Brandon 1338.
Bilby, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, but you both get equal share of that, so that's awesome. Well, I really didn't know you guys are such troublemakers. You'll fit right in. You know, you talk about your show. You know, you have, is it Kim that's in that's the producer? Kim, is that her name? Or Kate. Yeah, you know, we're sort of like a little family here. You know, it's like, who would ever thought that a libertarian, a Republican, and a Democrat, and I don't know what I am, could get along, but we seem to get along just fine. So we are like a little family. And we got Adam, our producer. He's backstage. He can't show his face, or he'll be probably tarred and feathered somewhere. I'm sure of it. Plus, a lot of people don't want to be associated with this motley crew, but I'm proud to be with them. So, Tiffany, you know, you've been on the other side of the angry mob. I would think you might like this bill. You want to throw some handcuffs on some people, maybe? I mean, I'm talking about in the meeting, okay?
Not to handcuff anybody. But Kristopher, you did say something that it's disgusting to protect public officials. And I wanted to understand why you think that's disgusting.
Well, I certainly don't ever want to elect an elected official and send them to the state house to make themselves a special class over the citizens. If they're going there and they're getting paid our tax dollars, I want them to be protecting the citizens as a whole. If they are concerned about decorum for maybe citizens, that's fine. I definitely don't want them to be interfering with anybody's First Amendment right. But most of these bills that we're worried about this session, they're focused on protecting themselves as candidates, protecting themselves as elected official from redress and redressing their grievances, and they're trying to insulate themselves in elections. There's another House Bill 1133 that they're trying to push, and they want it to be pushed through in an emergency way, so that if it is gone through and signed, that it will actually be in effect before this primary. And, you know, what they're doing by doing that is they're making themselves a protected class, and they're not concerned about the people who they should be, the citizens. You know, I want elected officials to be safe, obviously. I just don't want them to be spending our tax dollars and their time as legislators to put themselves in a position where they are insulated from, you know, the basic freedom that we have as Americans, which is to redress our government.
From answering questions.
So before we get to you, Brad, I want to put this one up here. This is Ryan Webb. He's a councilman, I think, in Delaware County. He's a county, you know, and so we got famous people watching our show, and he's actually, I need to address him right, as a native woman, American woman. I don't want to.
I heard.
Yeah. He says the bill's unconstitutional. I mean, what do you think of, Brad? I'll start with you on that one. That'll be your question. Do you think this thing's unconstitutional, or are you good for it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't agree with this at all. Like, we're still talking about the same one, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, because like all it is doing is making it to where politicians do not have to be accountable to the constituents. You cannot. I can't tell you. Like, I tried to get a hold of Elizabeth Roray the whole time before I ran against her, and then when I did, I never got answers back. The only time I got to talk to her was when I went to it was ILF Day at the State House, and the lobbyists that ILF have assisted in getting me a meeting with Representative Roray. So like, I had to like pay money to an organization to like go to this thing in order to speak to my representative, it like made me mad on like 8 different levels. So
you know what I
yeah,
say,
I completely get the insulating. That's a great way to put it. They cannot be insulated from answering questions. Like they want something on decorum. We should get something to where they have to give, you know, a week's notice that they're going to have those public meetings where they're going to be, you know, held accountable to the public, and the public can ask questions and actually get answers. When it's just one-sided, it's just one-sided. We'll ask a question and they will give a response that has nothing to do with it, and we don't have that ability to hold them to that question still and be like, hey, you didn't answer this. It just moves on to something else after 2 o'clock. So
they're pretty good at sidestepping stuff. And you know what I say on this show many times, you know, other than Lucy's catchphrase, taxation is theft, I say I won't. 80% of getting a hold of my representative is why I vote for him. I have not, my representative hadn't spoken to me in 5 years. Now, of course, I ran against him a couple times, but literally puts his hand up and runs away like a little sissy. And I'm going to say it right here, right now. I got him on tape, you know, just ignoring me and walking away. Now, he might have been a little mad when I put my door hanger on his house door, but, you know, that was good. I thought he wasn't home, and then he pulls in the drive. It's a little bit awkward, but, you know, it's all good. Maybe I'm partially to blame for this bill. You never know. So how long have you guys been doing your show? Okay, Kristopher. I guess when I say both you guys, you can't answer the same.
Brandon and I have been working together since on this venture we've been working basically since October of 2022, but I had another audio only podcast called Perception is Reality, and he was working basically as a producer, as a writer, kind of giving ideas and such on that since we kind of came into partnership in 2021, 2022, somewhere around there. Would you say?
Something like that.
I've been producing content like this since 2016 in some format. So
okay, and so you know, we're predominantly Facebook. It seems like you get into a niche unit. You guys have a lot of YouTube stuff. I've not been happy with YouTube. They've the only thing we've ever been censored on is YouTube. A couple times when we had shows on about the vaccine, and we didn't say that anything other than we said the words vaccine, and poof, we're gone. Now Facebook, Twitter, none of the other ones do. So are you on other platforms, or is YouTube pretty much it?
We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and then the audio side is like on iTunes and Google Podcasts, Spotify, you know, things like that.
Yeah, I don't have time to do this stuff. I mean, I think this is more of a gig for you, and you have a show. I don't know how you do 4 shows a week. I mean, we have so much fun just trying to get one show together. But so, hey, Pamela, you got some more questions? I don't want to just hog all the questions here because I'm curious myself on a lot of stuff.
If I can, real quick, I just had something pop up that I had another someone send me this while we were sitting here talking as an example to the elected officials trying to protect themselves or make themselves different in this session. Another bill altogether, House Bill 1343, which makes the filing of a false lien a level 6 felony, and it increases the penalty to a level 5 felony if the false lien is filed against a public official. Now, I don't know what makes J.D. Prescott anything different than me. I have opinions. I think he may be lesser than I am, but that's my opinion. But I certainly don't know what makes him any more special than I am, that if someone files a false lien on me, it's a level 6. But if someone goes and files a false lien on him, it's a level 5. To me, that's just the absolute shows you that they are doing something there this session that is trying to protect themselves and cast themselves out differently than what the rest of us peons are. And that's not what they're there for.
Yeah, how about lowering our property taxes? Well, you know, our show last week, we talked about some, officials that are running for office that have hidden their property information, sort of stretching that law out. It's like a little bit of Nancy Pelosi insider trading type of thing. It's all good, but it just doesn't look right. It smells a little fishy.
Didn't they all give themselves raises too?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, that's always
part of the budget, right?
Christopher, I have a quick question or just a little bit of a comment about what you're saying about like the change in the felony level if you file a false lien against an elected official. One of the things that I think is really interesting is when you run for office, there's like one of you, and then there's like thousands of people who are looking at you and exposed to you and who want to talk to you. So there's a definite imbalance there. And oftentimes, not all of us are well. Can we all agree to that? Not all of us are well. And so sometimes you get different energy back from people. So if somebody were to file a false lien against an elected official, I think sometimes we have to wonder about the motivation behind it. And sometimes it may not be that, I worked on your house, you didn't pay me, it's a mechanic's lien. It's I'm just trying to ruin this elected official's life and make it very difficult. And I'm not a career politician, but I will tell you, during 2023, I had to, spend a couple $1,000s putting lights on my home because people liked to come onto my property. And I had to have several conversations with Chief Gephardt, our police chief here, because people liked to test me. And so I think that there's two sides of this. I think certainly the one-on-one dialogue and getting answers to questions that we deserve from our elected officials, I think definitely that's the kind of conversation that everybody deserves. But when people overstep their bounds and they're rude, unkind, disgusting, they're in your space, on your property, violating your rights, they're doing things like that, there is no recourse when you're an elected official unless somebody actually harms you and you can file charges. So there's this gray space between me and you physically.
But this is about at meetings though, Tiffany. This isn't like.
So the thing is that Brad, there are so many things that happen at meetings and legislative sessions that spills over into you're going out to dinner, you're in your yard, you're at home. So some people can't stop it at a meeting. Some people cannot turn it off, and they ruminate and they take these inopportune times to have these conversations. And so I'm just trying to let you know that there is this definite gray space that is very uncomfortable. And it's that gray space between I've just left a meeting and I'm going to call the police because you are committing a crime. So we would have meetings, library meetings, and you can bring a gun to the library. We're just sitting there like fools. There's nothing you can do. So I just think that you have to understand that being a public servant, you're really.
You could bring a gun to a library too, right?
Pardon me?
You too could bring a gun to a library too, right?
I could, but I wouldn't.
Okay, I'm just saying that you, just as a citizen, could also do that. But I think to your point there, it's important to know the one distinction I would say is, first of all, if anyone breaks the law with anybody, an elected official or citizen or me sitting in my home, if somebody's coming onto my property that's unwanted and they're bashing my door in, I'll pick up 911 and deal with it. I'll pick up my toys and deal with it, or whatever I need to do to make myself safe, as anyone that has that right. The one thing that I can say is nobody forced anybody to be an elected official. So while I understand the point that you're making there, I find it, it's just, I'm bothered by the fact that people who decided to become an elected official then says, help me, I'm an elected official.
Public. I think the key word's public.
You're elected to, to serve and to talk to your constituents. It's kind of like when I was active duty military, and the idea
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. And the idea of going to work and dying was fine. It's like, okay, we're going to Oman. We're going to be in the desert for 6 months. We're doing our wartime duty. Okay, we signed all the forms. My daughter's with my husband, and you've got all these other things going on. And if you die at work, you're okay with it because you planned for it. When you're when you're doing politics, it's like I'm here to write laws, talk to constituents, and then there are people who cross the line. They absolutely cross the line.
That
And
should be dealt with every time.
there are no rules, there's no laws, there's no legislation, there's nothing to protect you as people are crossing the line. And it's not until they do something. It's not until somebody touches you, grabs you, comes onto your property. And so I am not familiar with all of these bills, and I do not know the author, but I understand and I know that there's a gray space. And if people are trying to protect themselves from loonies and clowns and things like that, I
stay off of Twitter. If you want to do that, stay off of Twitter. That's where it happens. So
May I ask just one quick question real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Tiffany, did you ran for something, or you served as an elected official?
I was recently elected, correct.
I mean, can you say what body that is?
Oh, city council at large here in Fishers, a city of about 100,000 people.
Are you a Republican, a Democrat, Libertarian?
I'm a Republican.
Didn't you see the intro to the show? It says Tiffany, she's the Republican, although it's just in red, so you probably missed that.
Yeah, kind of. That shocks me a little bit, but okay. All right. I just
why is that? I mean, she doesn't sound conservative enough for you?
Why are you shocked? I mean, wouldn't you expect this of an Amish woman? Why are you shocked?
Well, she does date Bigfoot, so I mean,
no,
that's
I just
right
mean those stances. I mean, it's in line with a lot of other Republicans right now in the state of Indiana, and I kind of think that's the problem with what we're seeing here.
Well, she's on the other side of it, Kristopher. So I mean, I can totally understand, and it is that's like our viewpoints. It's like we've had
absolutely,
Cassie on, and her.
Oh yeah, I respect you completely. I love it.
So yeah, so that's we all have our own way to look at things.
And I also watched somebody get arrested at a public meeting. And one of the things that I thought was interesting was that when it comes to public meeting, like interfering with the business of a public meeting is it's a crime. Like it's a misdemeanor or something. That's the law that will get people arrested. And one of the things that I thought was interesting from being on a board, I really felt like the rules were never communicated to people as to what was your time having public comment, and then what was completely inappropriate for disturbing a public meeting, and when you crossed over, what the ramifications could be. So it's kind of like when you have a parent and all of a sudden they go from 0 to like taking you outside to a tree and whooping your ass. So it went really, really fast. But I just think that that's one of the things that we need to communicate is like, this is what we expect. This is decorum. And then this is breaking laws. And then these are the consequences. A lot of people know that I was accosted at a library meeting, and the gentleman was, not gentleman, I'm sorry, I use that very loosely, but he was trespassed from the library for 2 years. And what I thought was very unfortunate about that is, number one, Indy Star and a couple of news crews were there. They never picked it up. Number two, they never said his name in any of the press coverage. Number three, no one ever said what crime he committed and what the issue was. And so when you don't communicate the crime and then the consequences for people don't understand.
Sure.
When something happens, they're like, oh my gosh, why'd they do that to me? It's like, well, no, you did something wrong. And unfortunately, people spend so much time trying to protect other people that you did not know the consequences. So there's a lot that goes into sitting someplace, being a volunteer on a board to represent people in your community that people take for granted. Like I will sit here, I will be at this meeting, but no, you're not going to talk to me like that. You're not going to come onto my property. I'm not going to be part of your clown show. So people just need to understand when to turn it off.
Yep. So Lucy, we want to get Brandon included in here, and I know that you'll have a quality question right now. So, and I'll give you time to think about it. I thought of an analogy today about Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. What it's like. It's like boxing. When you're on Twitter, you got the big bag. You're really digging into people, and that speed bag is sort of like Facebook. And then if you went Instagram, that's like when you're in the ring working on your footwork. You know, you're like looking pretty and all that. So that's my analogy of what social media has become. And honestly, I think that some of that is spilled over into our society. Everybody thinks it's okay to run your jibs like like you're behind your computer keyboard and nobody's going to see you. So anyway, Lucy, did I give you enough time to think of a question?
I have so many questions that are running through my head, but I'm going to propose a thought experiment to Brandon and to anybody else that wants to ask. A lot of people are concerned about making sure that we have our voices heard and everything, but why don't we crowdsource the outcomes and get votes on who has the best ideas? So, Brandon, what would you think about the idea of taking these kinds of meetings and allowing people to submit um, content ahead of time, get comments on it, and then just like Reddit, have it upvoted, and then only broadcast the most upvoted comments?
That's kind of an
That
interesting
sounds
idea.
libertarian to me. I don't like it.
That's how the robots take over, though, Lucy. AI will
Yeah.
take that over in
The
like
best
Slippery
IA.
slope to robots.
Terminator 3.
AI.
That's true. And then they would all be AI people and none of them would be real, but we'd, certainly put them on OnlyFans and make $1 million.
We're
No,
waiting for that million.
That's kind of an interesting idea. It does make me wonder, though. I mean, in that situation where we're upvoting who we get to hear, again, it's like, okay, so you don't like this idea, so it's silence. It's kind of a double-edged sword, right? In my city right now, I don't really love how they run their meetings. Like they don't have a public comment section. You have to basically submit a form like a week in advance or 2 weeks in advance, and they'll put you on the agenda. I don't love that because obviously a lot of things happen in the meeting, and maybe you want to comment on what happened today, and then you're going to have to wait a month or so to follow up and tell them what you think. A lot happens in that time. The last meeting I went to, I had very specific questions and I didn't get to ask them. And it's funny because by the next meeting, they were answered by actions that were taken by the city. I don't love that format. So I just have a lot of concerns with HB 1338 in my mind. Isn't necessarily, I know, like I get Tiffany's point, a lot of what she said. My concern isn't necessarily that it immediately violates the First Amendment, but it gives a lot of potential for that. So like Lucy was saying, like voting on things, it's kind of scary to me that it'll be the council president or whoever arbitrarily gets to decide what your 3 strikes are and kick you out. It's not like the council themselves are taking a vote or anything. It's one person has that authority to boot you. So I guess I'm kind of spinning off on your question, but your idea is to have a lot of people have say. This bill is saying that one person just gets to say, no, you're bad, you're done, get out.
And they added an amendment for that too.
Like I was library board president for, I don't know, a couple meetings, and that's the thing. People don't understand that when you're president of that organization, that is your purview. It's like you set the agenda. Public comment is a privilege, it's not a right. And you are responsible for running that meeting, and you do have to make decisions, and everything can't be crowdsourced. Somebody that's what being a leader is. Sometimes you have to make those tough choices. And then also, the leader, it's mutual respect. Respect the person who's running the meeting. And then also, I'm going to respect you because, you're there, you're in the gallery, you're participating. Most people don't even come to those kinds of meetings. So when mutual respect goes out of the window, and if you're giving somebody a third warning about being quiet,
there was not a lot of respect your board was showing the public at that point.
I'm so sorry. What'd you say, Brad?
I said your board was not showing the public a lot of goodwill and trust at all.
Well, and I think part of the problem, Brad, that the one meeting I attended was that they could have 2 minutes to talk, but the board didn't have a chance to ask them questions. I think that would have gone a long way.
The board the board didn't want questions.
I know, but they should have.
Well, actually, during public comment, it's not a dialogue, because at my very first meeting, people asked questions And I tried to answer them, and I was told that I was not supposed to respond to people during public comment because it was inappropriate. In fact, I got an email from a lady, and she told me that I made her uncomfortable when I answered her question because I was too intimidating. So
Dare you, Tiffany?
At the legislature,
Wow,
they
you are
do
damn
this at the
damn
legislature. If you're,
you know what? I don't know if I still have the email, but it's a double-edged sword. It's like people pontificate and they just vomit words. And then if you say, hey, oh, by the way, you asked this question and this is the answer, then all of a sudden your keyboard warrior, your troll is like shrinking because you've actually acknowledged them and given them some information. So some people are not equipped for dialogue. Some people,
we should have tryouts.
Laura
Maybe you should
Allerding
have
and
tryouts.
Ray Madelone.
all night
Nick
long.
Beckwith.
And then if you try to give them some information that might make them less confused, all of a sudden they're intimidated. So
I've never seen a library board get on the map as much as Pat Hamilton East. Right? They got on the map. I mean,
Library boards should not have a legacy to them.
No, they should not be that. But you know what?
But you know what, Brad? To your point, this is one thing we didn't talk about a couple of weeks ago. Is people will say that the 4 conservatives on the library board that we failed. What I love is that from that experiment, look at the legislation that we're seeing around libraries.
We're talking about it tonight.
And that's been happening.
Wait. All we did was show what you couldn't do, and then they're drafting legislation to fix it all.
Tiffany, that's it. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out, because I was trying to say that it's all been connected this entire time. The first time I knew about Micah Beckwith was at the Purple for Parents conference, where he spoke. Like, it was all at his church. Like, they are all together. Yeah. Like, of course they're all trying to do the same thing.
And they're very frustrated. They've held their breath so long that they've turned purple. That's what my theory is on the Purple for Parents. It's like, and that's what leads to our frustration. It's like, I'm going to go a little scripture on here. I'm going to channel some Micah Beckwith. The book of James, it talks, why do we quarrel? Why do we fight? It's because we don't get what we want. Sometimes we just, like the Rolling Stone says, if you try sometimes, you might get what you need. So there's my 2 famous quotes from the Bible and the Rolling Stones, those famous philosophers. So I know that was a lot to take in. Well, hey, since we're only going to be doing an hour tonight, we need to get to this conspiracy theory, because I really have a good one tonight, and I think you're going to be really impressed with how much work I put into this. So
we always only do an hour. I mean, like all of us.
No, we don't. We run to like 1:20. We quit, and then we do a conspiracy.
It's like an Indiana goodbye anyway. We're going to be on for 5 more minutes.
It's terrible. We play a game of euchre. I mean, it's
at home, no ankle monitors. We're good. I mean,
it's like, No, what do you got? A Bigfoot getting out of the garage?
What's up?
So anyway, we got to do. You know what, guys? This has been great. You've seen you've seen how the sausage been made on our show. It turns out more to be like scrambled eggs. But so now I don't know if you know about our conspiracy theory, but it's where some of us put on 10 hats. I think I'm the only person that does it anymore. And then we come up with conspiracy theories. And I know you guys are quick on your feet. You could probably make up something real quick. I generally do, but I have something tonight because I wanted to roll out the red carpet of conspiracy theory for you guys tonight. You're going to love it. I won't be going to go last. So, but first we got to play our intro to this while we get our tinfoil hats on. So if you got them, wear them. If you don't, it's okay too, but you better be thinking of a conspiracy.
Hey y'all, it's time for the conspiracy theory, so you better get your tinfoil hat out and let's see what's going on this week.
All right. Tiffany, he's ready. He's ready for the gas. Got the gas mask going and everything. So that's awesome. So we'll let our guests go first. Do you have any conspiracy you could just like reel off at the top of your head?
Oh, geez, that's something we wanted to start doing. I can't reel one off the top of my head though. Now I'm on the spot.
Okay. Well, I know.
I can tell you. I think the conspiracy. I have one. And I think it's that Representative J.D. Prescott is so afraid that he cannot win this upcoming election that they are working so hard at the State House to put all of these bills in place to stop the public from being able to call out these elected officials, that this is all a conspiracy just to continue to get Prescott reelected to District 33 because he just about lost last election. There you go.
Where's 33?
District 33 is Muncie, or Delaware County, Randolph County, Jay County, Blackford County, part of Henry County.
Is he a Democrat or Republican?
He's a Republican.
Did he run against Dale Basham?
No,
34.
That's 34. He ran against in 20. He's been in the seat since 2018. Last time he ran against Brittany Clower. The time he won the seat, he ran against Sean in the primary. In 2018 to win the seat, Greg Beimer had the seat before him, and he took the seat over, running against a Democrat, Sean Byram, and a Libertarian, Dale Arnett, who's now a judge in Randolph County.
All right. Well, I'm going to put somebody in the audience on the spot here because, Janet says she's in District 33. So I want her to put in the chat whether she supports JD or not. I want to get her in trouble. I want to see what she'll say.
Is it time for change in that district? Janet, is it time for change?
Hell yes.
Yeah. We got the whole. We
I have my
got the
opinion,
whole
obviously.
county involved here on this show. I mean, we spread it out. So, there you go. She's not a fan.
No, she says no, she does not support him. I guarantee you that's a no, she does not support him. Clarify that, Jeanette.
We're two kind of opposite questions there. Is it time for a change or do you support him?
Yeah.
She says, no, now yes. Now we're really confused. She says nope and then yes. So I don't know.
Hey, put a number 1 in if you do not support JD Prescott. A number 1 if you do. Okay.
Morse code.
There she goes. Right.
1 if you do not support.
All right. So it's time for change.
1, she says no, it does not.
Ding,
Okay.
There
This
we
is
go.
a perfect example on how to make a really hard question. I mean, a really easy question hard. You guys are both ready for the legislature. So you win that prize. Okay, so Tiffany, what do you have anything fashioned up for this conspiracy thing? I mean, it'd be a first, but I think you've had 1 out of 300 shows. So, but go ahead if you got it.
I will go back to what I said 2 weeks ago. Former President Trump, he's out on the campaign trail. He's giving people what they want. I think he has decided that he wants to be president again, and he's going to listen to his consultants, and he's going to be what we need.
Okay.
I didn't laugh as hard this time, Tiffany. That was really hard.
Well, you know what? I'm going to continue to say it, and in November and mid-November, they're going to be like, "Damn, she was right. That's a conspiracy."
Well, Brad's a little hopped up on the sauce tonight, so he's a little mellow. So,
yeah.
So Brad, what you got a conspiracy for me?
I have more of a correction, like admitting that I'm wrong to the audience.
We don't allow that on this show. You just roll with it.
Well, I'm the lone Democrat, so like we say we're wrong all the time. It doesn't matter. So I kept kind of pushing like Diego Morales. Is like where is he going or where has he been? Like why is our Secretary of State going abroad to all these places? And then somebody told me in the comments, I think it was like, oh, Guatemala and Taiwan. It was like bipartisan and whatever. And so I apologize for that. However, those were not the trips I was talking about at all. Initially, he went to CPAC in Hungary to talk like in May of 2023, along with like Harry Lake from Arizona. The Prime Minister of Hungary is Viktor Orban. He's this very right-wing-ish dictator kind of guy. He loves everything anti-woke and makes speeches about that, and then invites people to come to those conferences. And one of those people that came is our Secretary of State, Diego Morales.
God, he didn't stay.
Because I don't know what you could learn at those kind of conferences.
I think Tiffany has a comment. Tiffany, do you have a comment?
So I do have a comment. So, I too had questioned some of the travel, and somebody had said something to me that I thought was really profound. Number 1, Indiana leads the way. So to have a statewide elected official who is not he's not a white man conservative. That's a big deal. This is Secretary Morales. It is a big tent moment for the Republican Party, for the state of Indiana, and for the world to see that a person, a man with conservative values, who does not look like what people expect him to look like, who can stand on principle, get elected to a statewide role. And it's a big moment. It's a big moment for people to have him there. He's really shining a light on people who are interested in politics and who don't look like everybody else who's elected around them. So that was one of the things that I had to kind of take in and understand. It's a real big tent moment for the party, and it is something that people don't expect. So,
and it's also a plug for short people. I mean, yeah, we might as well say that. I mean, I can't help it, Diego. I love you like a little brother. A little brother. I mean, it's all good.
A little brother.
The guy's like half my size. It's terrible. I mean, it's scary. I mean, I fell over and smother him. I mean, it's just awful.
It's a big tent moment. So,
and it was there was a lot of firsts in that deal. So, Lucy, I'm saving the second best one for last tonight. I'm telling you, you're gonna have to dig deep in the Bill Gates taxation stuff chest to beat my conspiracy theory. So go ahead.
Give it to him, Lucy.
Well, I'm sure this is Bill Gates' fault, and it was certainly in collusion with Klaus Schwab and all of the other elites. But I'm going to take this in a direction you probably would have anticipated, and that is I want to call on all of us to stop drinking caffeine. The reason I want us to do this is because there are MRIs that have shown that caffeine reduces the oxygen to your brain by more than 50%. Like legit, this was seen in an MRI on ABC, on one of the 60 Minutes type shows. 52% reduction in the amount of oxygen that gets to your brain. Well, if your brain is starved for oxygen, you're not making good decisions, which could lead you to becoming a Democrat. And so I want you all to stop drinking caffeine. And that is
those Democrats are drinking the heck out of some caffeine.
The book, get the book Caffeine Blues, and you'll really see, and obviously do a lot of research online. Andrew Huberman, he has really great videos on even why you shouldn't drink caffeine the first 90 minutes in the morning because of your adenosine. Pretty interesting science, but like in all reality, non-conspiracy theory, stop drinking the crap. It's killing us.
Oh, I stopped 6 months ago. I must be twice as smart now.
Yeah,
clearly you are.
I need all the oxygen I can get. All right, Lucy, that was pretty good. I mean, my mom, when she got clean from the prescription drugs back, when we were kids, she said when she got clean, it was like Johnny, everything. Now you can't have any caffeine. You can't. Now I know why. So she was just looking out for me. She was looking out for me. So you ready for this conspiracy? Okay, this one goes back a ways, and and the only reason I'm going to tell you this story is because the statute of limitations is out, it's passed, and the other guy in this conspiracy, he's passed away. So it's only going to be me that suffers the consequences on this, but I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember this. Maybe who was born before 1984? Tiffany, maybe you, 84, before 84? I was. You guys, okay, we got pretty much there. So in 1984, the Firecracker 400 down in Daytona Beach at the Daytona International Speedway. What was the first there? What was the first at that race? The first was a sitting president went to a NASCAR race. Now I bet you'll never guess who that president was. Who was that in 1984? Anybody want to take a guess?
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. That's right, he was. Now here's the controversy. Okay, they wanted to make it a big deal. So, Cale Yarborough was leading the thing. Now, first of all, when you got a sitting president at your big race here, you don't want a garden vegetable to win. You don't want somebody named Cale to win this daggone thing. You want to have somebody like, Richard Petty win it. So what happened mysteriously, this, Cale Yarborough was leading the thing, and he mysteriously had to go into the pits and Richard Petty, he won the race for it. Now this is where the conspiracy is. Now whenever I can put this picture out, I'm putting this picture out. That's me in 1979, and you can see me and Ronnie having a little conversation right there. Now this is 5 years before this race, and I was the mastermind behind this plot to get Cale Yarborough to come into the pits. So, like I said, the statute of liberations are, we were drinking a little bit. Me and Ronnie had some scotch and talked about it. And Nancy was giving us a look like, hey, you got to cool it off here. Ronnie can't be getting drunk. So, but that was, that's how it went down. So we talked about it.
John, how tall are you, man?
About getting shot in 81 by
John. I want you to prove that's you in the picture. I mean, I think that's a conspiracy theory that you got some.
That is me in my disco suit. That's
you.
my.
I'm not convinced that's you. I'm sorry.
That's me. I
mean, I don't have another.
I can see the smile in the nose. I can see it.
That's a bad Photoshop.
He also said
exactly. It's like
Nancy's nose.
That is a Polaroid picture my mama took.
That's
God rest her soul.
Was that when your mama was still on prescription drugs?
Yeah, I think it was pretty much it. So, he comes to our church. It's like the spring of '79 or whatever. We're not president, and I think we had the state party chairman went to our church. So it's funny. We had like 2 rows with Secret Service guys in there, and he shook everybody's hand on the way out, and they were all cool. And I got that famous picture. I think you all are jealous. So and plus I got the plot a Firecracker 400, race plot with him. So you guys think the NFL's rigged these days? Not NASCAR. It's all
Oh
fake.
my God.
Championship racing. So anyway, look at that. Right at 10 o'clock, we're done. Unbelievable, people. We've really shown our true colors tonight. So
did Brad have a conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
Oh no, it was just a confession. I was wrong.
He had a confession of fixing.
Oh.
He was fixing his. It's sort of like you were doing. So you're trying to run me over now. You're trying to run me over, and I'm going to get this done at 10:01 now. 10:01. So everybody say bye. And if you want to come over to the next show, where can they catch that, Christopher?
Hey, they can. Your producers put a link up somewhere in there. He should have it. You can find it on YouTube. Look at the Political Spotlight. The Political Spotlight will be on there just as soon as this wraps up. And I do want to tell everybody, if I can just quickly plug, we'll be tomorrow. I'm going to be on with Rob Kindle talking about this very same thing. And then on Thursday, Brando and I will be having Rainwater on. We've had him on multiple times, and he'll be on with us on Thursday. So check it out, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then sometime during the Kindle and Casey show tomorrow, we'll be talking about 13.
All right, I got a challenge for you. I want you to, because Rob Kindle loves me. I mean, we're best buddies.
Right.
So I want you to stick my name in there on the show a little bit and see watch his face melt. I've been trying to get Micah Beckwith to do it, but he's chicken. You look like you're.
Wait a minute. Since you guys are in the know, Brandon, Christopher, and John, what's the word on the street after the debate with the 5 candidates, the 5 governor candidates last week? What was the word on the street?
They were saying that Curtis Hill was like the most charismatic, but I don't know. I mean, I think
I've heard that from lots and lots and lots and lots of people.
I'm going to see Brad Chambers tomorrow night. I'm going to go down to the tax man in Bargersville and drink his free drinks or whatever and talk to him, see what he's like. And then,
Brandon, what are your thoughts?
I haven't really been following, to be honest with you. I'm just thinking about Taxman now.
Yeah, come on, let's go down. Let's go get thrown out of there. I'm game. All right, that's enough. You guys are running me way over. I'm playing the ending. We'll see you next week. We have John Schrock coming on. He's got some interesting news that happened to him. And then, hey, real quick, Tiffany, I just got a message from Dana Black. She is in for the Valentine special. So on February 13th, we're going to have a Valentine special. Tiffany, I don't know if you know this, but you're going to be hosting it. Lucy, you and Dana Black, and we're trying to get a relationship counselor on so that she can straighten out you women.
Okay. Hey, so I will be probably in the woods with Bigfoot. If possible, we might have to film on Monday.
Oh boy. There you go. Okay. Yeah, these persnickety actresses, it's just hard to work with them.
Well, you don't pay me enough. You don't
say bye. Say bye. Say bye, everybody. Bye.
Yeah.